So a little bit background story, what the speech therapy actually do is, like I just said just now, we do a little bit of intervention, we do a little bit of therapy, and we do a little bit of screening. And also what who we see from very young age to the very adult age of people who is requiring communication and also requiring solving problem. So in terms of like communication, I will explain more about that. But from the topic itself, I just would like to like give you guys a little bit of idea what did I think and what did I experience about communication among healthcare and what is actually important for us to like really upon about. So actually for this thing, this communication among healthcare, why I think that it is important, because it is because if like we don't have any communication among other professional, like just now I saw someone who is a speech therapy, someone who also medical radiation. So if like we don't really know what the other person or the other job scope in the facility that we have, we will have reduction of quality of care, we will have poor patient outcomes, we also will have like wastage of resources, increase of healthcare costs, and also staff satisfaction. That is the reason why I highlighted in the staff satisfaction. For me personally, I have been in this field since like 2017 until like right now. I'm currently in hospital setting. During my experience as a student, I didn't have the chance to like communicate with other professional, unlike other than audiology, because we speech therapy and audiology staying in the same department. So, and also we attend similar courses together. So we do have that kind of idea what we actually do. And also I didn't realize that I actually like really had to know other professional punya communication or other professional punya role until I entered the field itself. And also like from my memory, I can like remember like my memory in USM, I only like have a big lecture in the first year and second year whereby we have like anatomy, the general anatomy, and then that's the time that I can meet all those other professional, other courses. But still we didn't have this kind of like discussion about what did we actually do. So I am really like appreciate that you guys really take the initiative in order to like create this kind of like platform in order for like professional to share their inputs, and also using the same, like using the correct term and easier for you guys to understand. So yeah, so that's why I think that we should have communication among other professionals. And another thing that I would like to share from my experience is that when you don't know what the other professional do, you cannot really like refer the patient requirement or the patient needs. For example, like for me, I see a lot of patients, like I just said just now, who having those kind of like speaking and also swallowing problem. And when they have like the speaking disability, they have to like also have a focused attention. I will explain more about that a little bit later on, but you will realize that whenever like you see that patient, if you don't know other professional do, you cannot really refer that. You don't know whether they are correct for this profession, and then you also doesn't want that other professional to be like to see the patient that is not under their expertise. So you want to like send them to the correct person so that they won't we won't waste the professional time, the professional who is receiving that patient, and also we don't want to like waste the patient's time. Because like for me in the hospital, we don't have that much of staff, especially speech therapy. We don't have really much, a lot of amount of speech therapy here in KKM especially. So those kind of thing really matters in order to like in order for like for us to provide the correct treatment to the patient that in need. So just for like to brainstorm, what do you guys think about communication? Can you guys like put it in the comment section so that I can see? Whatever
Maybe
comes. Yes?
maybe anyone can add up in comment section.
Sebab nampak macam semua orang pemain kan. So I give that opportunity for you guys to like just put on the comment section what do you guys think. There is no correct or wrong answer. I just would like to know where your guys are.
Ataupun kalau tak nak komen, just boleh buka mic pun okay.
Yes, betul
Yeah.
juga. So memandangkan kita punya co-host dah already like open her mic, what do you think about communication?
For me, regarding communication, okay, communication for me is actually we have to be both, which is for two-way communications, and communication is really important for us because we communicate with other people almost every day. That is where we have to we share our knowledge with other people, and also bad communication can create a bad situation for us. So that is how important of good communication in our daily life. Okay.
Yes, I agree with you, Atiqah, whereby you said that when you think about communication, communication means that you exchange information, and also if like you present the message in appropriate way, you may make someone doesn't really understand what the message that you want to say to someone is not really interpreted well, so that and then it will make the impression towards you is wrong as well. You don't want your impression towards you is wrong as well. Is that what you mean just now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have also comments right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exchange information, communication is crucial skill. I agree with you. Communication is our way to exchange and convey information by speaking, either in a bad way or vice versa. Yeah. So you guys got the gist of the idea what is actually communication. Very good. So let me tell you what I think about what communication is. So next. So like you guys say, it's relying information effectively to get the point across. So like when you say something, you get the point across, then the communication is already effective. So from here, you can see that we have sender, message, channel medium, and also receiver. So like for me right now, I'm becoming the sender. So I'm sending the message why about communication is important, right? So the message is here. And the medium that I choose, I will talk a bit about this later, and also receiver. So let's talk about sender and receiver. So in order to have a very effective communication, the sender and the receiver should have all these components, which is hearing, language, and also speech. Okay. So basically, this is the process of communication. So here, the sender and the message, the channel medium, and also the receiver. So let's go to what is hearing. So hearing, you guys don't have to like learn all these anatomical names over here, but basically what you guys have to like know, hearing is about the sound, and the sound we go through this ear, and then the sound will be amplified inside of your brain into the cochlear nerve. If all these components are already okay, then you actually already have a good hearing. But then with hearing, you need to have listening. And listening and hearing is two different things. Listening means that you have to understand what is actually the message or the input that is trying to say from someone else. So so you have to get these two things. So you have to make sure whether you have the hearing and whether you have those listening skills. So about hearing, do you guys think that you have the hearing ability or not? If you guys don't think that, not sure whether you guys have the hearing ability or not, or sometimes you guys feel like um, you guys like having this you guys have difficulty in hearing whereby you guys like talk a little bit louder, maybe you guys can have a check whether you guys have. Yes, one response whereby kalau dia dengar lagu, dia dengar dalam volume rendah. Yes, so you guys already have the hearing. Okay. So next one, let's talk about language. This is my favorite part. So language, we have few components of language, which is phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and also pragmatics. So again, you guys don't have to like memorize all these things, but you guys should know what it actually means. So phonology means phonemes. Phonemes means the sound of the words that you are saying. Like for now, I'm saying, for example, like when I say I, so you hear the word E, right? So that goes for phoneme. Morphology means words. So like when I say some word, like makan, it goes for words. It already represents about what it is. It is a word. And syntax is phrases and also sentences. Means that you like when you say like I want to eat, it already portray it is a sentence. And also semantics. Semantics means literal meaning of phrases and sentences. So like you say makan. Does everybody else understand that what you are portraying is actually makan, or makan you portray something like minum? So if like the other person doesn't really like understand what is the meaning of makan, then the message cannot be sent. And also pragmatics. Pragmatics means meaning in the context of closure. So like for example, like right now, I'm using these kind of sentences and words when I'm like explaining to you guys. But when I'm like have a conversation with my parents, I use a different set of words. When I'm like talking to to my boss, for example, I will use different kind of word, different kind of selection that comes along with pragmatics. The reason why I say language is my favorite part, because I think that language is the hardest part in the communication for me. Because like for example, for me personally, I do like have this difficulty in order to like portray the sentences that I want to say. Sometimes I feel that sometimes people doesn't really understand what I'm trying to say. So by like practicing a lot, I think right now my ability to like explain to people will be much easier. And also when I practice with different kind of people. So I practice with my boss, I practice with my parents, and I practice with my friends when I use different kind of language. So the ability for me to express myself becomes much easier. And also when like I'm using my words, for those who know that I do make some like video in my Instagram post, and that's one of the way also I practice my language skills. If you guys, I think most of you guys doesn't know really me. Previously, when I was in USM, actually I don't really have the ability to like talk to people like this, and I don't really have the ability to like communicate like this. And this ability comes with practice. So yeah. And the third component that you need in order to like a very effective communication is speech components. So speech component includes voice, fluency, and articulation. So like, for example, when you like want to produce speech, you need a very good lung function. So you have to like breathe in air, and then you have to like release the air through your vocal cords, and also you will able to like resonate over here, and then you articulate well. So so like when you like have disability, or you have problem around one of those area that I've mentioned just now, it will affect your ability to produce speech. One example that I can think of is like, for example, like when you guys want to do presentation. I think that students usually will do presentations, right? So you have to like project your voice quite well. You have to articulate the articulation, the things that you want to say very well. There are a certain person or students that have a very soft voice, or a very husky voice, or a very a breathy voice, that makes this problem, that make them this ability to like produce the voice that, or the things that they want to say very clearly. So those kind of people will come and meet me, and I will try to see whether they need a certain type of therapy in order to like improve their ability to speak better. And there's also like, I didn't really meet those kind of students before, but once when I was back in USM, there are students who come and meet speech therapy in order to like improve their stuttering problem. So stuttering problem means that when you like trying to like the situation like I just said just now, whereby you try to like do a speaking, or you do a presentation during your class, you will tend to like repeating and repeating the same word all the time, until you cannot really present what you want to say fluently. And I'll do that examination, I'll do that assessment as well, in order to see whether is that a disorder or something that is actually natural. So that's about voice and fluency, and also articulation. So try to like see within yourself whether you do have this kind of problem or not. Or if you don't have this kind of problem, or maybe you guys see around your circle where they have this kind of problem, maybe they can seek help from a speech therapist. So just now I talked about the flow of the communication, right? We have sender, we have message, we have medium channel, and also we have the receiver. So what example of channel medium that you use to communicate? What do you guys think? What do you guys can use in order to like express yourself? Like for me, I use these web apps. What do you guys use?
Maybe social media, is it?
Yes, true. So social media, what kind of way in order to like you express your the things that you want to say to the people? Yes, Insta story,
By
yes, true.
giving text.
Yes, text. So text is one of the way in
Mm-mm.
order to like communicate. There's also update status, yes. Instagram, yes. Instagram, you use pictures, right? So pictures is a way to communicate as well.
Is it
Twitter.
TikTok also involved?
Oh, sorry?
Is it TikTok also involved in communication?
Yes, you use TikTok as well to communicate. What do you want to say? Yes, Twitter. Yes, Twitter also. Reels in Instagram, right? Yes. So you do use some kind of communication tools in order to like communicate and express yourself. So the tools that you guys already mentioned just now, more towards writing and also picture. So right now I'm using verbal. I also using like picture over here, my body language. Um, and uh, and those are the things that we use in order to like express ourselves. So in order to like improve the way that you want to communicate, you may want to like consider using all of these things. Same goes like when you are the receiver. You may consider of hearing all these communication skills, because like if like you, for example, if like you focus only on writing, maybe there are some of the things that you missing when the person is trying to like say something to you. What what are the things that you guys missing when you guys are like only read the message that someone is trying to say? If like for me, when I like read the message or comment, I may missing some kind of like tone. I don't know whether this guy or this person who is talking to me, whether he is angry, whether he is happy or something like that. And also like when like in pictures as well, you can't really interpret what the person is trying to portray if you didn't like use verbal. Maybe like you ask that person what is he trying to express using that picture, or maybe something like when he do a certain kind of um action or dance or something like that, you don't really understand what they are trying to portray unless they have this kind of like complementation of writing, verbal, and also the body language. Yes. They we can do like express their anger using capital letters as well, or like saying that we want this thing urgent, something like that. Yeah. But does that person understand? Will you like really this person, that the other person can interpret whether what you are saying is actually something that is towards anger, or just something that is like you just want this thing to go urgently? So maybe yes, I like what Shafarina said. Nonverbal communication may lead to misunderstanding as we don't really know the tone of facial expression or the information of the sender. Yes, you really get what do I mean. So yeah, so this mode of communication, if like you only like focus on one thing, some people will interpret it in the other way. Another example that I would like to share from my experience is where like in hospitals, we do write a lot of reports. When we write reports, we have to like write it like as simple as we can, because we have to like see a lot of patients, right? But then they may like some of the words that we say may like not really interpreting what we are trying to say. So in that sense, in that kind of situation, what do you guys think that I should do? Okay, usually what I do, if like I didn't really understand what the report that is saying for by the doctor or the nurses, that articulating how the patient really is, I will go and ask who is the main physician of that patient. So like, of course, there are lots of doctors who is like seeing that kind of patient, right? So you try to like first communicate with the person who referring the patient to you. So that's my tips for like, for when you are like working, you don't really understand what the other person is trying to say in writing, or like trying to like say in the try to explain to you the patient condition, but you don't really understand, you just ask. Because if you didn't ask, the communication isn't really you can't really understand how the patient condition is, as well as you cannot really help that person a little bit much better lah. Okay, so that's about mode of communication. So how we want to practice mode, a very good mode of communication. So communication is all about practice. So like I just said just now, I usually will practice my communication skills with different sets of people. So like for right now, you are practicing with your own peers, right? So sometimes you try to reach out and have a conversation with other professional or other students who are like experiencing other kind of causes, and know more about them, so that you can like help your patient as well. So increasing the knowledge is something that you need to like improve and try to like increase it every day. And also try to listen to verbal and non-verbal communication. And another thing is choose well modes of communication. So like I just said just now, try to not to focus on only one mode of communication, especially when you are in a professional setting, so that you can help the patient better, and also you can give a very good service to that patient as well. And also if like you are not sure whether you are like communicating effectively or not, just ask your friends whether they actually understand what you are trying to implement, by explain back what you are trying to say. So if like the things that you are trying to say to your friend, but they did say something else, or something that is missing from the thing that you want to portray to them, try to like um improve from there. And also try to give a certain kind of analogy, or try to give a lot of example, especially when you like explaining, because I understand like in as a student, for me myself, I don't really know how to create analogy in order to like make the parents especially parents, because I see a lot of pediatric and also adult cases like I mentioned just now. I kind of live in not a very, how do I say this, not a very the setting is not very it's not like city like kind of city kind of setting, whereby they don't have this kind of like facility that we have right here, which is internet. We have social media. They seldom use those kind of things. So it gets me a little bit harder in order to like be in that kind of level with them, in order to like explain to them. So what I try to like say or explain my patient's situation by using pictures, or sometimes I do graph, I do telegrams, and not telegrams, I do pictures, I draw pictures, in order for them to understand better about their child. So because it is like, if they doesn't really understand how the condition of their child is, it will affect the child's ability. They don't, first thing, they won't trust us, and also they won't do the things that they need to do. Because like for my profession, I do need to like have a very like frequent appointments with my patient. So with that frequent of appointments, and also they want to improve their skill, they need to continue the skill that they want to practice at home. So in order to have that, we have to build trust with parents and also with and also make them understand what they should do. So because that I need to make them understand, that's why I need to like use different mediums, or I ask them whether they understand the message that I want to send to them. And at the beginning, I admit that it is not easy because I don't have that much experience, especially when I was just come out and I just graduated from university at that time. So it was a very struggling experience for me. And right now, I'm not going to admit that I already made it, or I am able to like explain everything fluently to the parents, but somehow I feel that with that kind of practice, I do think that there are some difference, and I do know now what kind of areas that I want to like explain more, what kind of area that I want to need to go into a little bit deeper so that the parents understand what I'm trying to say with them. So yeah, so that's about how do you want to practice communication and how I practice effective communication. So yeah, so that's about it. So do you guys have a question that you want to ask me?
Okay, actually I have a question for
Okay.
this. Okay, so because we know that communication is always have to be very in good conditions, especially among us have to communicate with a patient and also with other people. So may I know what is the best suggestions that is to improve our communication in healthcare? Do technology that helps in communication?
Okay.
Dia membantu tak daripada segi teknologi?
Okay. Good question. You want to like communicate with your patient is using technology is a better way.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I do think that using technology is the easiest way to do, because you always on the phone, it's on the
Yeah.
go, and also makes the people easier for them to digest. And also it takes less time, and also um less time, I admit, less time in order to like send the message to the other person. But then if you like to use technology in order to like communicate with especially patient, you have to consider their their what should I say their the things that you want to share online. You have to have the security, you have to like have something that is not really vulnerable for, like for example, like if you like WhatsApp, orang boleh masuk balik tak kat WhatsApp tu, contohlah. So kalau WhatsApp tu ialah secure place and orang lain tak boleh tahu pasal patient tu punya condition, it's a good way to practice lah. I will actually suggest about that, because senang everyone boleh communicate dekat guna phone daripada kita nak write it down. And then dia cepat, kita boleh pass kepada orang sangat cepat. But then definitely at my place, benda tu memang susah nak explore lah. You kena juga tengok the area that you are area yang you guna tu. Orang area situ, dia compliant tak untuk guna that kind of technology. If they compliant, then you can just proceed with that. I really go, and I really suggest that you guys go into that part.
Okay. So actually from your slide, I have seen that non-verbal communication is one of it, body language. So how does contoh lah, is there any examples body language that shows in good communication skills?
Okay. Do you mean untuk dewasa ataupun macam mana? Ada konteks tak?
In context of we as a professional workers.
Dia boleh tak body language tu ada
Mm-mm.
certain yang okay, ada certain yang tak okay.
Yes. How
Okay.
to differentiate between both that one lah. Yang mana yang okay, mana tak okay.
Okay. So far from my experience, I didn't really like go into depth what kind of body language is suitable or not. But I can see that if like the person is actually like listening to you, the body language will be more towards you. The body when you like talking to the person will like talk towards you a little bit more. Another thing that I see, if like the person is like leaning a bit back towards you, maybe they not ready to like discuss with you during that time. Macam tu lah, just one of those things that I learned, but I didn't really like know into depth into that thing lah. Because we as speech therapy, we doesn't really like learn about body language. But we can see in children, if like they want to say something, they will like crying if they don't have the words. So in order to like know that, we have to like interpret it. But even though kita dah interpret it sendiri, doesn't mean that dia memang correct. We have to see the pattern first. So in order to like know that pattern, you have to know that person a little bit more. Then only you know, oh, this time when he is leaning towards you, oh, he is like listening to you. So you have to know that person as well first lah. And then also that thing takes time in order to let you know that person as well lah.
Okay, right. Is there anyone have any question? You just can drop at the comment section. Okay, so because you have been experienced in this field, is there any unforgotten yang tak boleh dilupakan lah untuk apa experience sepanjang bekerja ni?
Good memory ke bad memory?
I think both. Maybe you can share with us.
Kalau I share yang bad memory, tapi bad memory that I want to like really remind me lah. That bad memory is that when I first not really remember when I first but that time I see this kind of adult case. And then that adult case, I do session with him, and then I didn't realize that he started to like moving around. And then he moved around and then he started to fall. So as we all know, if the patient start to fall, what I will like, at that time I feel like lost. I don't know what to do. So because the patient fall, and at that time, after the patient fall, I try to like get help. But at that time, I cannot really get help because the door is not really like easily to be opened. So I shout out and people come out and check whether the patient is okay or not. So after experiencing those kind of bad experience, I do like make myself a little bit aware about the situation. I check patient's condition before I do any treatment or any session with that patient. And because previously I didn't know whether I should check the patient condition or not. And also I learned more about how to deal with patient who is fall after after I experience those things. So it is important, like if like you are experiencing something that is bad, it doesn't really makes you a bad person. It makes you learn something new. So that's about bad memories. A good memory is when my patient actually able to like communicate well from zero, and then suddenly and after therapy session they can communicate well. And also definitely with those who are having voice problem, because like I still remember the teacher who is like having these nodules around that area. He undergo therapy session, and then she really tries to improve her condition, and then she actually able to communicate with other students much better after undergoing that treatment. So maybe those kind of thing that I can remember from my experience that I can share.
Okay. So ada lagi soalan. Okay.
Okay.
So
Boleh tanya, boleh
ya,
tanya soalan,
boleh.
Assalamualaikum.
Silakan.
Waalaikumsalam.
Kita semua Malaysia kan, ada international tak dalam?
Buka video.
Kat video,
Macam tak ada international sini. Ada ke?
nak tanya pandangan kan, pandangan Cik Izzati tentang communication ni. Kita hidup pada zaman yang terlalu banyak noise dalam information exchange hari ini sebab terlalu banyak medium komunikasi menyebabkan informasi tu banyak disampaikan dan bukan semua info tu sebenarnya kita perlu tahu pun, tapi dia sampai banyak sangat kepada kita menyebabkan dan saya rasa manusia ni dia tak cukup evolve untuk adapt dengan perkembangan informasi yang sampai. Faham tak?
Okay, so the question, soalannya?
So masalahnya ialah bila dia macam ada, kalau dalam speech therapy ataupun mungkin dalam communication therapy ni, dia ada tak cara untuk kita block the noise supaya ataupun kita nak filter the noise supaya information yang sampai dan yang sampai kepada kita dan yang kita sampaikan tu betul-betul yang perlulah dalam kehidupan.
Okay, faham. Good question. Bagus soalan tu. Yang ni pun memang something that is we should think about, memang patut fikir and kena like ponder upon lah. So pasal how can we like reduce the noise. So for me personally, I try to reduce the noise because I don't know how people reduce the noise. For me, I try to reduce the noise by editing. I edit who I want to like know about and who I want to listen to and what I want to know about. So first I try to like switch my attention to the things that I really want to know about so that I won't like be distracted towards other things that will distract my focus towards something. So that's one thing that I try to do in order to like reduce the noise. And like for you, maybe like if like too much information and then you don't know what to take, you see what kind of information that the person is trying to give to you. Try to learn from that person. Means you ask that person whether he is actually qualified to share all those information with you or not. So kalau macam dia tak qualified to share that message to you, maybe you tak patutlah dengar dekat dia punya information tu. Tu saya punya pendapat lah. So kalau macam contohnya information yang dia nak cakap tu bukan berkaitan dengan speech therapy. So mungkin dia boleh share sahaja tapi dia bukan qualified untuk nak practice benda tu. Macam tu. So kita as pengguna, kita kena tahulah kita nak select information yang mana kita nak terima tu. Jawab soalan tak?
Yalah. Dia sekarang ni kita ada satu penyakit yang dipanggil apa ni? Fear of living behind. Apa benda? Fear of living.
FOMO
Ya. Saya semua tahu kenapa. Aku tak tahu ni, aku kena tahu juga. Dia macam satu penyakit quote and quote pada zaman ini menyebabkan speech therapy yang ataupun dalam terapi supaya dia tidak menjadi satu benda yang menyusahkan kehidupan lagi lah.
Kalau dalam bidang speech therapy sendiri memang banyak information yang bukan daripada yang qualified professional lah. Dan saya memang aware pasal benda tu. So yang itu memang kita tak boleh nak control. Orang tu share memang dia punya Instagram and then dia punya Twitter kalau saya lah. So kita tak boleh control dia. Tapi kita boleh educate people to follow those who are in the right track. Maksudnya follow those yang ada credition ataupun ada credibility untuk nak improve ataupun untuk give that kind of service lah. Fear of missing out tu memang something that is actually sebenarnya ini lebih kepada psikologi sebenarnya. Sebab saya bukan bahagian tu, tapi memang saya sendiri ada experience fear of missing out tu. Dan ini memang benda yang bukan benda yang luar biasa lah. Benda ni memang biasa, semua orang ada hadapi. Lagi pula dengan social media. So orang ni contohnya orang ni dah graduation, dah grad. Tapi kita tak grad lagi. So kita rasa fear lah, kita tertinggal daripada that kelompok or that kind of people. So kita tak boleh nak control that kind of people sebab mereka dah grad. So kita boleh control diri kita saja. So we have to like put everything into like think whether can we control that kind of person or not. So if like kita boleh control orang tu untuk dia buat ni, so kalau kita fikir macam tu, mungkin efek kepada diri kita pula lah lepas tu. So kena put things into perspective and try to think of, sebab kalau benda tu kita tak boleh control, mungkin kita boleh control diri kita saja. Macam itulah jawapan saya. Tak tahulah menjawab soalan ke tak.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome.
For the sake of discussion, sebab tajuk kita communication kan. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, is there any question that you can drop? Okay. Okay. Satu lagi soalan yang saya dapat. Is there any way to fix bad communication yang dah sebelum ni yang dia jadi keruh? So is there any suggestion for you lah to fix back the communication?
Thank you for the question. For me personally, I think that if like you have a bad terms with someone else, or you say something that is not appropriate to someone else, the thing that you already done, you cannot turn it back. But what you can do is like try to build that trust again. Try to spend time talking with that kind of person. Try to have try to discuss what are the things that you are trying to try to discuss, whether the things that, if that thing really like makes you feel uncomfortable, maybe you should have deep conversation with that person because you're already in the bad terms. If you like really want that relationship to be maintained lah. So if like you don't really have that, if you don't think whether that kind of person matters to you, it's actually your choice. Your choice whether you want to like communicate with, discuss back, and it is something that is fearful. Maybe you feel a little bit shame because you have to like communicate with someone that you already have bad terms with. So it is not easy, but still, if you really want to that relationship to be still within your circle, maybe you should discuss about it lah. That will be my suggestion, but still, it's your choice.
Macam sesi counselling lah.
Betul.
Okay, we have some question dekat sini dekat komen. So daripada Fatin Nabiha, dia tanya pada umur berapa kanak-kanak dikira lambat bercakap ataupun speech delay?
Okay, so far kita tak ada lagi direct say bila umur kanak tu lambat bercakap. Umur something dia terus lambat bercakap. Tapi kita boleh bagi guideline lah. So kalau guideline ni tak menepati, you boleh check. Ataupun you rasa uncomfortable, you boleh terus check dekat speech therapy lah. So what are the guideline that I would like to say is like child tu dia selalu ada medical condition tak? Medical condition tu maksudnya dia ada heart problem ke, atau prolong stay dekat dia punya hospital ke, ataupun contohnya dia umur 1 tahun, dia ada tak satu perkataan yang dia sebut, 2 tahun 2 perkataan tak yang dia sebut, 3 tahun 3 perkataan tak dia sebut. So kalau macam one of those guidelines, sebenarnya guideline dia banyak lagi, tapi yang paling simple yang saya boleh bagi sekarang ialah 1 year 1 word. So kalau dia tak ada tu, mungkin you boleh check dengan speech therapy yang berdekatan lah.
Okay, so next question from Ain. How can we improve non-verbal communication since non-verbal ones seem to cause most misunderstanding?
Okay. Thank you for the question. So kalau nak improve non-verbal communication, interesting soalan ni. So tak pernah dapat soalan macam mana nak improve non-verbal communication. Tapi kalau daripada yang saya boleh suggest ialah kalau non-verbal communication, maybe dia one of the things lah. Writing, pictures ataupun body language kan. So kalau you rasa non-verbal cues yang orang tu cakap, you rasa uncomfortable, you try tanya. Ini menunjukkan yang you nak kritik saya ke? Ataupun you just nak bagi saya suggestion? Ataupun you just nak bagi saya idea untuk improve all those areas that orang tu bagi tahulah dalam bentuk surat ke atau macam mana. Sebab non-verbal kan dia lebih kepada those 3 kind of modes of communication kan. So mungkin you boleh try ask orang tu, try to ask using language that you think suitable in that situation. So kalau macam contoh you nak bagi soalan tu dekat orang yang contohnya ayah you, takkan you nak cakap guna bahasa yang you cakap dengan kawan you kan. So maybe that kind of thing you can consider as well lah. So that 2 tips that I can share. Experience treating autism child. Okay. Banyak autism child, especially dekat my place because banyak pediatric patient yang jumpa. So experience, definitely interesting experience. I won't say that it is an easy experience. It's a very challenging in terms of like engaging the child. Because kalau sesiapa yang ada adik, saudara atau ada anak yang dekat sini yang normal, mungkin senang you nak engage child tu. Macam nak panggil dia, jom kita baca buku, dia datang. Tapi kalau untuk autistic child, dia ada minat dia yang tersendiri. Dan kita nak keluarkan dia daripada minat dia tu very challenging. So kalau dia tak keluar daripada minat dia tu, kita tak bolehlah nak ajar dia a lot of language or stimulation skills ataupun improve dia punya speech language and speech language skills dia lah kalau dia terlalu engage on something. So saya rasa itu yang part paling mencabar yang saya hadapi sekarang dengan autistic child. Lagi okay.
Atasnya ada lagi any effective communication between supervisor daripada Wan Syafawani.
Mana?
Atas sikit tu, any effective communication between supervisor or lecturer.
Any effective communication between supervisor or lecturer and postgraduate to avoid any bad terms walaupun mereka berdua ni berlainan pendapat. Okay. Naturally, memang kita semua ada pendapat yang berbeza. Itu memang manusia. My pendapat and yours pendapat may be different lah. And in order to like live in harmony, we have to like improve our first listening skill. So we listen to what that kind of person trying to say, and juga akan improve kita punya empathy jugalah. And these 2 things memang important kalau you nak banyak berurusan dengan orang. So kalau you tak dapat skill ni memang susah sikit nak improve lah, which is saya pun tengah learn juga sekarang. And untuk nak menjawab soalan dia, saya tak sure menjawab ke tak soalan dia. So kalau macam dia ada berlainan pendapat tu, satu kita faham orang tu, try to faham orang tu macam mana, and bila kita dah faham orang tu, cuba build that trust first, and then maybe lepas tu baru kita boleh like bring that person into our pula punya perspective, and all those things takes time because you really like value that interaction or your punya relationship dengan you punya supervisor atau you punya lecturer kan, sebab nanti you nak communicate pasal you punya I bukan master tapi I rasa macam you guys banyak communicate kot dengan you punya lecturer sebab nak discuss pasal you punya dissertation and then everything, right? So it takes a lot of work because communication needs, kalau ada communication yang bagus kita kena ada trust. So you kena try to listen to that person first and then try to bring that person into your perspective juga supaya orang tu boleh faham lah. Okay, ada lagi soalan lain? Maybe you can share how we should do when meeting or trying to communicate with people who have communication problem. Oh, okay. So kalau you jumpa individu dengan afasia, what should you do? The best communication tips yang I boleh bagi ialah kalau dengan orang yang ada afasia, hearing problem, apraxia, sebab afasia ni dia banyak lebih kepada macam language kan. So maybe you have to like face to face, sama juga dengan hearing, maybe you can duduk dekat depan dia kalau bila communicate dengan dia so that dia boleh tengok you punya facial expression dan boleh juga dia boleh tengok you punya gesture. Dan kalau untuk orang tu pula, kalau dia tak tahu nak express macam mana, mungkin you kena tengok dia punya action dekat muka dia. Mungkin bila dia nak bagi tahu sesuatu sebab perkataan dia tak boleh nak keluar, afasia lah. Sama juga dengan apraxia, dia akan ada masalah dengan motor problem dia. Try to use other means lah. So kalau macam dia nak cakap yes dengan no, so you kena macam tanya dia, kalau sebut yes, kelip mata ataupun pointing kalau dia boleh guna gesture dia lah kalau dia boleh faham. Tapi kena start dengan dia faham dulu. Yang itu kalau macam afasia punya lah, depan dia berdepan dengan you and then observe dia punya cara dia nak communicate dengan you. So kalau macam you susah juga nak faham dia nak cakap apa, mungkin boleh try ada macam pictures ke untuk dia point ke, macam tu.
Okay, so next ada lagi daripada Zahidah. This one saya nak add sikit lah soalan. How to nurture good communication skills and usually what are essential things that should have to give a good communication skill?
Okay. Ada konteks tak kalau nurture good communication skill ni? Kalau you sendiri ada situation tak yang you rasa you nak improve you punya communication skill?
Konteks mean dengan siapa ke macam mana dengan?
Dengan siapa?
Usually more likely dengan friends lah.
Dengan friends lah.
Yes.
Okay, so kalau dengan friends yang you tak berapa kenal ke ataupun you dah kenal?
Usually dengan biasanya kita baru kenal.
Baru kenal. Okay. Kalau baru kenal, feeling uncomfortable tu memang biasa. Sama saya pun kalau saya masuk new facility, macam sekarang saya masuk KKM kan, sebelum ni saya private hospital kan, so kita kena kenal dengan new surrounding kan, new people. So at the first time memang you akan macam it's normal untuk rasa uncomfortable tu. So after you feel that uncomfortable, you try to start with something that is you feel comfortable to talk about. So kalau macam saya, usually I ask that kind of person, what do you do? Which part yang you bekerja, macam tu. So after that certain time, then only you can like build a little bit deeper conversation with that person because you really want to know that kind of person. Tapi tak semua orang you akan build that deep conversation kan. So kalau you really want to like know that kind of person deeply, maybe you can like communicate with that person more and more and more. So nanti you can build that connection lah and trust. Macam tu. Actually build good communication skill ni dia tak ada black and white sebenarnya. Dia tak ada jawapan yang yes betul ikut yang ni. Sebab communication is a complex thing. Macam macam yang saya explain tadi, dia ada beberapa komponen. So kalau komponen yang language tu dia tak dapat atau tak sampai ataupun tempat yang kita guna tu tak sesuai, So kita kena improve lah dan kita kena recognize whether kita punya communication skill tu betul ke tak. So kalau macam saya sendiri, kalau macam saya buat therapy session kan, saya tak sure whether saya punya therapy session tu parent tu faham ke tak. So saya try tanya. Ataupun saya try to reflect. Saya banyak tulis journal lah. Saya journalkan apa yang saya buat hari tu. So saya try to tengok a certain duration, ada tak saya punya behaviour tu yang nampak macam tak okay. Saya try improve. So mungkin itu part of communication jugalah, sebab kita kena ada communication diri sendiri dengan communication dengan luar juga kan. Oh tapi ini bukan part saya sebenarnya, tapi saya just share je lah. So kalau saya nak build that communication, build that confidence, memang kena start dengan diri sendiri dulu lah. So kalau diri sendiri confident, baru mungkin lepas tu kita boleh confident cakap dengan orang. Sebab diri sendiri lebih penting daripada orang. Jawab soalan tak? Saya tak sure menjawab ke tak.
Tak, it's okay. So, we have another question daripada Siti Mashita. Do you think that apa ni? Sekejap. Do you think that sign language can be a main communication tools and should be taught in school? Sign language.
Sign language. Okay. Sign language untuk school. I think it's a good thing to teach. Sebab kalau kita tahu sign language, kita boleh communicate dengan those yang deaf. So it's a good thing to teach lah. Tapi macam soalan dia ni macam saya macam curious. You nak, adakah maksud dia ialah you nak implement sign language kepada semua sekolah ataupun special school ke macam mana? Boleh jawab soalan saya tak?
Rasanya Siti Mashita.
Mm-mm.
I think for all, I think is it for all school? Untuk semua sekolah?
Semua you nak that implementation of body language untuk semua school ke special school ke macam mana? So kalau macam saya punya pendapat, kalau untuk special school memang bagus lah kalau ada kenal sign language. Tapi kalau macam you practice untuk normal school pun bagus sebab you boleh like understand better the children dekat situ lah. Tapi kalau more towards mana, saya rasa special school needs more lah right now. Sebab sekarang kita punya people yang kenal or learn about sign language, kalau I punya circle tak ramai lah yang kenal ataupun menggunakan ataupun tahu pasal sign language ni. Tapi memang kalau daripada saya punya knowledge, overseas memang ada speech therapist yang learn sign language. So diorang akan teach deaf macam mana nak use sign language jugalah. So kalau ada skill tu memang essential skill dan sangat bagus lah.
Maybe that will be a good start kalau kita ada basic at least untuk sign language, right?
Okay. Tak ada kot soalan kan? Okay, terima kasihlah semua kerana bertanya soalan.
Okay, so I think kita dah hampir ke penghujung session lah untuk hari ini. So thank you Cik Nurul Izzati for sharing with us on communication skills, because we know that communication is very important, especially we have to deal with other people to convey message and also information kan. So I hope that all of us can take this as much as possible to improve in our communication skills. And from Cik Zati mentioned before that communication is actually we have to practice in order to have a better communication. Sebab kita tahu yang to relay message sometimes it can cause misunderstanding if it's kalau tidak disampaikan dengan cara yang betul lah. So I think that's all from Cik Nurul Izzati and also for me. So let's create a healthy communication skills to create a healthy community. And I think that communication is it's a life learning process lah for all of us. So I hope that you all get what we have shared today. So thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you moderator and speaker. Boleh end the session.